The engines on the Fat Controller's railway were waiting at Knapford Station. There was much excitement. The first of the summer rail tours was due to arrive at any minute. Thomas was excited. "I can't wait to meet the visiting engine," he said. Just then, the engines heard an unfamiliar whistle. The visiting train glided into the station. Its engine was Princess Elizabeth. She looked very big and very strong. The Fat Controller spoke. "Welcome to the island of Sodor," he said. "We're glad to have you here with us." "Thank you, sir," said Princess Elizabeth daintily. "The pleasure is all mine." Thomas had been asked to arrange Princess Elizabeth's coaches. He'd been waiting for a chance to introduce himself. "Hello," he said. "I'm Thomas." "Take my coaches away, thank you," Princess Elizabeth sniffed. Thomas was taken aback. "I will, but I wanted to say hello first. I haven't time for idle chat with small engines like you," Princess Elizabeth said. "I'm an important engine named after royalty. Now, I shan't ask again. Take my coaches." Thomas became cross. "Do you always talk to engines like that?" he muttered. "Only to diminutive, unimportant, undistinguished tank engines that go out of their way to get into mine," Princess Elizabeth chuffed. Thomas huffed away, feeling deeply insulted. He was still fuming when he pulled Annie and Clarabelle. The coaches twittered to each other. "Thomas is cross. Oh, what shall we do? Oh, what shall we do when Thomas is cross?" "That stupid old witch," Thomas grumbled that night in the sheds. "Who does she think she is, calling me unimportant?" "That horrid engine called me names too," said Percy. "She said I was nothing more than a little green nuisance." "We're both important," said Thomas. "Everyone knows that, even the Fat Controller." "Important?" grunted Gordon. "You two can't be as important as me." "Or me," put in James. "Honestly, Thomas, I thought you'd know your place in the world by now." "Figured you'd say that," Thomas groaned. "That's enough," said Edward. "There's no need to make it worse." Gordon and James sniggered quietly to themselves. As the engines fell asleep one by one, Thomas thought of how he could pay Princess Elizabeth out. The next morning, the Fat Controller was giving out jobs to his engines. He turned to Thomas. "Thomas," he said, "I need you to pull a goods train to Crosby Station." "Yes, sir," said Thomas. Thomas made his way to the station. He could see a line of trucks waiting for him. He also saw Princess Elizabeth resting in the sheds. Then Thomas had a naughty idea. He went up to where Princess Elizabeth was resting. "Excuse me," said Thomas. Princess Elizabeth glared at Thomas. "What do you want?" she sniffed. "Oh," said Thomas, "I was going to tell you that a very important train needs to go up the line. I was hoping you'd be interested in taking it. But then again, an important train?" Princess Elizabeth perked up. "Why, that's just the job for me." "Splendid," said Thomas. "It's waiting for you at platform 3. Princess Elizabeth made her way to the platform, but was surprised to see a line of trucks waiting for her. "Whatever is this rubbish?" she scoffed. "That's your train," said Thomas innocently. But I thought you said this was an important train." "Oh, it is. An important goods train. Do enjoy yourself." Thomas puffed cheekily away. Princess Elizabeth growled with fury. "That little nymph tricked me. I can't be seen pulling these awful trucks." The trucks began to laugh. "What's wrong with trucks?" "I'm a passenger engine," she scoffed. "My sisters and I were meant to pull the Grand Royal Scot passenger trains, not freight service." "Till then, you're stuck with us," giggled the trucks. Just then the guard blew his whistle. Princess Elizabeth groaned and fussed. "I hate freight. I hate freight," she chuffed. "Listen to her," the trucks teased. "Princessy says she hates freight. Doesn't she know that freight is great?"
Freight is great. Freight is great. We can't be wait, 'cause we are freight. And freight is great. Freight is great. Freight is great. We never soak, we hold the poke. 'Cause freight is great. We never make our fuss. We got the goods on us. We take the loads from off the roads. And freight is great. We're great.
Princess Elizabeth grumbled the entire journey. She was relieved when she came to the station. "Finally," she said, "now I can be rid of these disgusting trucks." Princess Elizabeth was soon uncoupled from the trucks. She was eager to head back to Knapford. "Wait," called the trucks. "You can't leave us here. We're still on the main line." "I'm sure a shunting engine will be along to deal with you lot," said Princess Elizabeth as she puffed away. But there was no shunting engine to take them away. The line of trucks was stuck on the main line. The station master was worried. "We'll have to divert the next train," he said, and went to alert the signalman. Suddenly, there was a whistle. It was Henry pulling a local passenger train. The quick-thinking signalman changed the points to divert Henry from the trucks. Just in time. Meanwhile, Princess Elizabeth had just returned to her shed. Thomas puffed up. "So, you've delivered your important goods, I expect," he said innocently. "You snake," she rapped. "You tricked me. An engine like myself isn't made for such nonsense." "Well, it serves you right for being so rude," said Thomas. "At least you're not too proud to leave a job unfinished." "Just a minute," ordered a voice. It was the Fat Controller, along with the Railtour manager. "Princess Elizabeth," the Railtour manager scolded. "Sir Topham Hatt has made me aware that you've been insulting some of his engines. I should remind you that we are guests on this railway, and guests should never be rude to their hosts." Princess Elizabeth looked at her buffers in shame. "And chummish," said the Fat Controller, "I am ashamed of you. Engines on my railway do as they are told, not shirk their responsibilities onto other engines to try to pay them out." He turned to both engines. "You two nearly caused an accident." Thomas and Princess Elizabeth gasped in horror. "Princess Elizabeth left the truck stranded on the main line. Henry wasn't far behind and could have crashed into them. Luckily, our signalman was there to prevent such a crash." The engines felt terrible. "We're sorry, sir," they muttered. "That's settled then," said the Fat Controller. The next day, Princess Elizabeth's Railtour train was ready to leave Sodor. Thomas came to say goodbye. "I'm sorry I played a trick on you," said Thomas. And I'm sorry I was so rude, said Princess Elizabeth. I'll try not to let the steam go to my funnel. That's good, said Thomas. Then the guard's whistle blew, and the rail tour puffed away.